What's up, Knucklehead? I am Lupine Fiasco, and this is your daily FaB gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the upcoming US Nationals and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the deck I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link available in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and the shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video. You'll get bonus DFG content every week, and there are even more benefits to come. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. There's a great chance that by the time you're watching this, I am already competing at US Nationals, and while Enigma has not been the most successful, points-wise, of the new Mistveil heroes, and not the most popular compared to new, I have a much harder time with her than I do with Zen or new. Enigma requires a different playstyle to combat than any illusionist I've played against before, and while Kayo is perfectly capable of handling her, it can be very draw dependent. It may be that Kayo does not have the action point economy to threaten Enigma, and if Enigma draws hot at the start of the game, you can find yourself in a position where you just can never catch up. Enigma is very good at defending against tall attacks, and not as good as defending wide combat chains. And that's really where the onus is on us as the Kayo player to draw our go again and have the action points to clear Enigma's board and keep Enigma's board clear. We'll talk about sideboarding because I disagree with how I am boarding in this game, and my current list on FaB reflects that. I think that Savage Sash is the correct choice of equipment against Enigma, not Spring Tunic. And the difference in my understanding of the matchup now compared to when I played this game is I was expecting Enigma to be much grindier than she actually is. Yes, Enigma can grind. She plays a lot of defense reactions in 3 blocks, and her ward is good at defending her life total. But overall, we are trying to aggro her down. We don't want to play this mid-range setup game because that may put us into positions where we don't have the action point economy to clear a board. And we want to prioritize keeping that board clear rather than trying to accumulate value, because Enigma is going to do a better job of that than we will. So I would play Sash and not Tunic in this matchup. Sash is an emergency button if we start to fall behind on board, and that means that Enigma has a Waxing Spectre, a few Spectral Shields, and a Manifestation of Mirror Guy, or Enigma has Manifestation and Rage Spectre, and might be able to keep a card in hand at the end of your attack. Sash says, break this in case of emergency, send your 4 to 5 chain links in a turn, clear Enigma's board, and just reset. So I would play Sash here. We are playing 63 in this matchup currently. Cast Bones is a mistake. I had thought it would be good. And in the previous Enigma video I put up on the channel, Cast Bones was very strong. But because we are not trying to grind and we're trying to be aggressive, Cast Bones doesn't work for that. Similar to our boarding out of Cast Bones against Ninja or Brute, we don't like Cast Bones because a lot of the time we would rather have it be another 2 for 6, where it is actually letting us apply pressure to Enigma's board rather than setting up. In that hypothetical situation where Enigma has Manifestation and Rage Spectre with 1 card in hand, we are much more interested in throwing a 2 for 6 and clearing one or both of those auras than we are in playing Cast Bones. Even if we hit, we make 6 mites and agility, we're going to take anywhere from 10 to 14 damage to do that. And we are letting Enigma refill the hand to possibly protect Manifestation and Rage Spectre. So we want to be able to apply pressure, and Cast Bones does not let us do that quickly. Outside of that, the game plan, of course, is to go wide enough to keep Enigma's board clear and keep it clear. And her plan is to not let us do that. So we are going to go wide when we need to. We are going to attempt to set up with Arsenal or Agility when we have the time to do so. And we are going to make value-based blocks with the understanding that for the most part, we would rather keep cards in hand. So I will submit deck. We'll take a look at how this game went and perhaps how we could play even better in the future. Having lost the die roll, we are going second here. I honestly don't know if I would prefer to go first or second in this matchup. If we go first, we do it with the understanding that we want to hold an action point so that we can clear any instant speed ward from Enigma. But if we go second, because we are treating this like an aggro matchup, we have the first opportunity to present real damage to Enigma. If I had won the die roll, I would have chosen to go first, but I really don't know if that is correct, and it's something I need to test. Hopefully have tested leading up to today, which is US Nationals. We sincerely hope that Enigma attacks with this Rage Spectre because we would like to filter cards out of our hand. Now, if we are not able to filter cards out of our hand, which we won't be able to do, Enigma is not attacking with the Rage Spectre, the question is, do we play the Blood Rush Bellow and just hope that it works out, or do we attack with Assault and Battery and beat Chest to make Might and Agility? As much as I just told you that this is not a setup-based matchup, that we do want to be applying pressure, I think that this is an exception to that rule. It is better to set up Might and Agility and Arsenal the Blood Rush than it is to just fire it off and hope for the best. Very likely what we would do with our turn is send Mandible Claw for 5 and Riled Up for 8. Maybe we could get a little more damage out of this turn if we drew a red 2 for 6. But for the most part, we're presenting 13 damage. Enigma has 5 cards available, so she could probably protect the Rage Spectre and might even be able to hold a card to attack with it. I think it is better to take some lumps early and set up a 5-card Blood Rush. That might be totally wrong, but it is the choice I would make now, and it is the choice I made here when I played this game out. You know, Assault and Battery for 5 is still not nothing. Enigma very likely needs to give us 2 cards to stop this. Sink Below and a card from hand in order to activate Uphold Tradition in her arm slot. Or she has to play Drop in the Ocean Passover, and this is great for her because she gets to transcend. But at the same time, she still is going to need to spend some of this in order to protect the Rage Spectre. And she's able to do it very well, right? Restless Coalescence comes down. is going to take the +1 counter from the Spectral Shield she just made. She gets to keep Restless and Rage Spectre. She will get to pitch a blue in order to attack with Restless and Rage Spectre. At this point, she can attack with all three, gets to keep a card in hand. So we are in a position where this hand is okay for firing off a Blood Rush. It definitely isn't the best Blood Rush hand we could ask for, considering that we have two generic attacks. And if we pitch a Wrecker Romp to play Blood Rush and then discard anything that isn't E-Strike, our Blood Rush is a lot worse. We at least have agility so that we could E-Strike draw a card. Here I am choosing to Flesh Bag. I don't know that this is wrong. It definitely isn't correct. The reason being that if Enigma has a blue in hand, she can pitch it to Uphold Tradition to put an +1 counter on the Rage Spectre and float 2 resources to attack with Restless and Rage Spectre. We are not getting any additional value out of Flesh Bag besides its block value of 2. At the same time, in all of the Enigma games I've played since her release, I don't know that I've ever gotten bonus value out of Flesh Bag because so much of what Enigma does is at instant speed and can be done as a response to the Intimidate trigger. I think this might be a matchup where we are a lot less likely to get value out of Flesh Bag. It will be rarer to get additional value out of it than not. So I don't know that blocking with it here is definitely not correct, but I don't know that it's incorrect. If we somehow catch Enigma without a blue, then we actually did get value out of this. Maybe if she was holding another yellow, she could pitch it to Uphold Tradition and only be able to attack with the Rage Spectre, as opposed to being able to pitch it to attack with Restless and Rage Spectre. But I think we can pretty safely assume that at any time, Enigma will have a blue and would be able to pitch it at instant speed to do something. So we are going to take a bunch of damage this turn. We're going to take 7 from the Rage Spectre, 3 from the Coalescence, and if Enigma wanted to get really aggressive, she could even activate Coalescence to turn the +1 counter into a Spectral Shield. The Spectral Shield couldn't attack because Enigma has already triggered the discount ability, but she could definitely get more defensive. I do think it is right to fire off Blood Rush this turn. We really need to clear this board. Using the E-Strike first to draw a card, I think is incorrect, because what we would have preferred is to have a chance at discarding E-Strike to the Blood Rush so that we could potentially open with CNC for 7 go again, or finish with CNC for 6. If we had discarded something that wasn't E-Strike, we still would have had the option to play it later. So I think this is a misstep. I think we should have just led with Blood Rush and hoped to discard the E-Strike, and if not, at least see what our hand looked like afterwards. We are still going to fire off this Blood Rush because there really isn't a reason not to, and we draw pretty poorly. So we're going to Mandible Claw for 5 go again, and at this point we either end with CNC for 6 Arsenal CNC, or play Run Roughshod for 7 Arsenal CNC. Enigma gets Manifestations out in addition to this already terrifying board. We're feeling pretty uncomfortable at this point, expecting to get Uphold Tradition and the Spectral Shield with no +1 counter. Instead, we do get the Restless Convalescence. So we're going to run Roughshod for 7. This is likely to get a 3 block from Enigma's hand, and then the 3 Spectral Shields and Uphold Tradition. She will keep Rage Spectre and Manifestation, and on her turn can Tunic to attack with Manifestation for 8. She's holding a Shimmers, so we are going to get her boots as well as 2 Spectral Shields. Running her out of resources, but we are still going to take 10 this turn from Spectral Shield Manifestation, and we find ourselves with a hand that doesn't have extra action points. At the bare minimum, we will have Tunic, so we do have the line of pitch to Mandible Claw, discard Windup to get go again, Tunic, 2 for 8, and that 2 for 8 is going to be Bare Fangs, so I'm already going for it here, but blocking with Bonebreaker and Swing Big, I believe, is the correct line. We just block for 5, take 3, and on our turn get to send Claw for 5, then do our discard play to Bare Fangs for 8, still holding on to the CNC, and we are just looking for action points. We're just trying to clear the board, and if not clear the board in its entirety, we want to get cards out of Enigma's hand. If we can strip her hand entirely, and hopefully clear 1 or 2 of these auras, but even if we can't, if we can just strip her hand entirely, then she, at the very least, isn't attacking us. And that gives us more time to find our go again. And yeah, Bare Fangs for 8 here is likely to get 3 cards from Enigma's hand. She could potentially give us 2 and lose the Rage Spectre if she had a Sink Below. She has the Unravel Aggression, so she does get to cover 8 and protect the Rage Spectre and the Manifestation, but she doesn't have resources to attack with them. Now, that's bad news for us because we really would have liked to block with one of these Clashes of Agility. So this is the rare situation where I'm rolling scabs, because if I don't, we are just in trouble. It would have been nice to get a 4 there, but even with a 3, we still get to do something. We're going to swing big for 8, for 10, and we're going to overpitch to make that happen. We can pitch Clash of Agility into Run Roughshod. Maybe we should pitch 2 Clashes of Agility just to get reds out of our hand and hold on to a blue to make sure that we have a turn. But holding on to Clash here gives us that potential to make an agility and be able to do more than one thing on our next turn. So I don't hate this. I hate that we continue to draw hands with no go again, but at least we cleared the Manifestation and the Rage Spectre. And here we do have a hand with go again, which is poor timing because we still have this Clash of Agility that doesn't get a ton of value. What do we want to do with this hand? This may be a situation where we block for 6 with Clash and Smash Instinct, cover 6 damage, take 1. Depending on if we win the Clash or not, we could think about sending Mandible Claw for 4, follow it up with CNC, or maybe CNC for 7, follow it up with Claw. We have the option to CNC for 7, discard Windup to make Might and Agility. So what I actually do like doing here is blocking with Bonebreaker, Clash, and Smash Instinct. We make a Might so that we get to send a breakpoint. And we are putting ourselves in a position where we can adapt to whether or not we win the Clash. We are likely to win the Clash. But, we see Enigma does have Battlefield Bastion. Maybe she has some CNCs in the deck. So we could, in theory, lose a Clash. I think this is a mistake. So here what we're looking at is just sending the 5-card Wild Ride to try and clear this board. But I think we had a pretty good chance of clearing the board with just CNC Claw. And what we have put ourselves into a position to do instead is take a bunch of damage, and then, we keep a CNC in Arsenal, but who cares? Wild Ride, draw, discard, and cast Bones is pretty catastrophic for us. It is a reason that I don't want Cast Bones in this matchup, because in a game where we need to go really wide, having that potential to brick is very bad for us. We have Blood Rush in the deck, so we always have a chance to brick, but why have more chances to brick? But that's in addition to what I had said in the sideboard and game plan of it just being too slow. At the bare minimum, we have Agile wind up to discard to make Might and Agility. We do get the manifestation off the board. Enigma holding on to 4 cards makes me feel like we are still in danger. Not even accounting for the 15-point life deficit we're looking at currently. But, not to be results-oriented, blocking for 7 and getting to send damage that doesn't rely on draw discarding would have been really nice. Even if Cast Bones wasn't on top, I still think that is the right play. We would be at 25 here, Enigma's board would be clear, and we would be in a position to actually take advantage of that Cast Bones rather than having been hurt by it. And even if we aren't being results-oriented, what if that Cast Bones was a Blood Rush? I still think we would be in a better position. We get absolutely rolled by Sacred Art here, generating effectively 6 more power on the board, and we do want to keep this hand based on having agility. We are going to get to CNC followed by Bear Fangs. We could probably block with a Command and Conquer from hand here, as we are also going to have Tunic. We just hold on to the CNC in our arsenal. Honestly, this may be a situation where I am just a little disheartened about how this went based on that Wild Ride discard. Here we want to open up with a Bear Fangs, and we are looking to finish with a CNC. We can see what we draw. Draw, discard a Pack Hunt, which would have been pretty nice to have, but with Tunic available, we at least get to Mandible Claw CNC, and we're pushing a lot of damage. We are very likely going to clear Enigma's board here. Problem is, we are down 23 points, and that is going to give Enigma the runway to rebuild. So she's played out the hand. The CNC from Arsenal is going to hit, which is nice. We at least get Enigma's Arsenal and we deal some damage. But look at this ward that we have to break through. 4 Spectral Shields, Restless Coalescence is 2, Waning Vengeance is effectively 2 between its ward 1 and the Spectral Shield it generates. Haze Bending is going to make Spectral Shields as well. We are going to clear this board and deal damage to Enigma, as well as get her Arsenal, and we are still in a lot of trouble. CNC only deals 1. We got a Fade Foreseen out of the Arsenal, but Enigma even chose to give that to us. She could have given us Tunic as well to protect the Fade Foreseen. Wild Ride here is a fine enough line just based on this hand not really being all that good. As much as I would have liked to keep a Wild Ride in Arsenal, we get to keep a Pack Hunt. Pack Hunt really just not the same thing. Does not have an 8 go again. We don't have an agility. And Enigma is sitting on 4 cards. So we are really hoping to find agility or a Wild Ride to clear whatever's coming next, because we can expect it to be pretty brutal. Levels of Enlightenment, fantastic card. Go again, draw 1 is going to be very difficult to deal with. First 10 of the moon into another levels, just absolutely disastrous for us. 5 go again, 3 go again, draw a card, puts Enigma up to 2 cards in hand, and we still need to think about how to clear this board. Miraging Metamorph here, we could pop it, we could stay at 4, and then Enigma gets to make another Haze Bending, so I am just going to scoop it up here. This game went pretty poorly for us, as you can tell. And This is not always going to be the case, but it is something that Enigma has the potential to do, even having that third manifestations in hand. So we fell behind early. We took a lot of damage in order to try to catch back up. And then once we started to build a little momentum, the Castbones discard from Wild Ride absolutely tanked us. It's very possible that we should have opened with the Blood Rush Bellow. And watching this game back, I'm seeing, you know what, that actually was the right call, considering that Enigma already had a Rage Spectre down with cards to protect it. I think we were supposed to Blood Rush there just to try to clear the board as much as possible, knowing that we're going to find more Blood Rushes. We have more emergency buttons, and hopefully we aren't even spending Go again to clear this board. We just get to Claw 8 at a minimum, and that's going to be enough to slow Enigma down. So I think that was a mistake on my part, but outside of that, just a few poor decisions made over the course of the game really kept us in a position where we had to play catch up. And of course that Castbones draw discard was absolutely horrendous. We can't be results oriented. For one thing, we were unlikely to discard Castbones. We were unlikely to draw it, and then we had a 66% chance to not discard it. But it just being in the deck was bad for us, in addition to being poor in this matchup. So definitely some lessons to take away from this, and I hope you found those lessons helpful, or at the very least enjoyed this video. If so, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. If you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It is the best free way to support me. I have a X, I have a Patreon. All of that information is in the video description below. I am in Minneapolis playing in Nationals, hopefully making it to day 3. If not, playing in the Calling or playing in the Battle Hardened. If you are also in Minneapolis, I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you see me, please come up and say hi. I like meeting people. It makes me feel really good when you recognize me and take the time to come up and say hello. It's very gratifying. So I hope to see you in Minneapolis. If not, I will catch you next week for more daily FaB gameplay, and until then, take care.